All right. No school this week, so I got Hunter and his friend Hammond here today. I asked them if they wanted to go to the press conference. They were a little bit hesitant. They said, one of them, I won't say which one, said they didn't want to hear any dumb questions. And I assured them that there are no dumb questions from this group right here. So you boys it's a safe space in here for sure. But another year in this rivalry. Feel extremely grateful to be a part of this rivalry. I've been a part of some good ones in my coaching career, playing career, both Georgia Tech, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida, Oklahoma, Texas, Virginia Tech, Virginia, and just the different places that I've coached. And this is right there at the top, just what it means to this state, what it means to both fan bases. It's an awesome rivalry, not just in football, as you guys know, but I think what makes this thing unique is the rivalry in all the sports, that no matter what sport we're playing Clemson in, it's a big deal to South Carolina fans and Clemson fans both, and our fan bases. So extremely grateful to be a part of the rivalry, going on year 5 as a head coach, and this is my 9th one, counting my years as an assistant here. Also, but ton of respect for their program. You guys know how I feel about Dabo, and the respect I have for him as a coach, as a person. He's a friend, and I think a lot of them, they're a team. I think seasons are very similar in a lot of ways. As you look at their schedule, there's 3 or 4 games on that schedule that you look at that easily could have gone the other way. It's a play here, a play there in 3 or 4 different games, and they're a 9-10 win team in the mix for the ACC championship. Again, they've had injuries, certainly in some key spots throughout the year, like we have. Every game they've played in, though, they have always competed. They've been in every game. I was so impressed with them watching the Louisville game from my hotel room in College Station with Hunter and Hammond on that Friday night, and the way they battled against Louisville, where there were a lot of times in that game where you felt like Louisville had it under control, but Clemson just kept hanging in there and found a way to win. So it's a testament to their program and the young men they have in that program. A lot of respect for them for sure, and they're playing their best ball right now at the end of the season on a 3-game winning streak, and have looked really good doing it in all 3 phases. Offensively, starts with Cade Klubnik, the quarterback. It's been cool following his career and seeing how he's just gotten better each and every season. And I know the season didn't start this year the way they wanted, or he wanted, but he's just continued to hang in there and get better. He's very hot right now. Adam Randall at running back's been a great change from a depth standpoint for them. He's a load. The offensive line, I know they've had some injuries, but physical, well coached. The 2 tackles have been there forever. A lot of respect for them and the way they play, and their durability in their receiving core is dangerous. They've got size, they've got quickness, they've got athleticism. Tight end room has depth, so they're an offense that can score a lot of points and is really dangerous defensively. Every year they're good on defense. I mean, we know that we've struggled to score points on these guys, particularly the last couple seasons, and they're extremely talented this year. Like always, the 2 tackles are as good as anywhere that we've seen, or as good as anybody we've seen this year in regards to a tandem. Woods and Capehart, they're really, really good. They've got size at the edge position. You look at their defense, and you look at some of those preseason or NFL draft projections. And a lot of them I don't put stock in, but most of them that I look at, they all have about 3 or 4 of their defensive players picked to go in the first round next spring. So they've got a lot of talent on defense. Sammy Brown and Woodaz at linebacker are really talented linebackers, can work sideline to sideline, physical, and really just instinctive. They have size. And then the secondary, I feel like we've been playing against a lot of those guys now for a long time. So they can cover. They play a lot of man coverage. They're going to challenge you to go make plays and beat them, and it'll be a big battle for our offense. And then special teams are dangerous as well. Dangerous in the return game, punt return and kickoff return. They won the ACC championship game last season because of the last couple plays of the game on special teams, returning a kickoff to midfield and then a game-winning field goal to win the ACC and get in the playoff. This year is no different. They use their best players on special teams, and then they're a little bit different too. They're a little bit more multiple, I feel like, on special teams this year, particularly in their kickoff return game. When we kick off to them, they're doing some things differently schematically, and they've evolved there. So it'll be a challenge in all 3 areas. It'll be an awesome opportunity. Our guys are really looking forward to the opportunity to go compete. We all feel very blessed to be a part of this rivalry. I need Saturday in Williams-Brice to be unlike. I told our players that we've had some great environments this year for home games, but none of them will compare to what we're going to see on Saturday. So counting on our fans creating that environment for us. I guess it'll be the biggest crowd that Clemson's played in front of all season. So we need that place rocking. I don't give a crap if it's at 12 noon or 12 midnight or 8 p.m. or 3:30. It doesn't matter. The standard that we want to play with and the standard we need our fans to show up with doesn't change. So 12 noon, we'll see you in there, be in there early, create that environment. And it's not lost on me that, neither team is where they want to be right now. At the beginning of the season, I think both teams and most people on the outside expected this game to be played this weekend with playoff implications, just like it was last year. And I'm 100% convinced that this year is a little bit of an outlier and a bump in the road, but that next season and then every year from here on out, this game will be played in November on Thanksgiving weekend with playoff implications. It didn't happen this year, and I know both teams feel like they're extremely close to where they want to get back to and where we were last year at this time, where this game we were going into it and we thought the winner was going to be in the college football playoff. And this season, that's not what the implications of this game are. Still really, really meaningful and still really, really, really special. And it didn't happen this year, but we're not going anywhere. We're only going to continue to get better as a program. And I know Dabo feels the same way. They're not going anywhere. They've recruited well, I'm sure, and got good young players in their program, and they're not going anywhere. So this rivalry is going to be back here pretty quickly to being played Thanksgiving weekend with national implications like it was last year. And there may not be national implications this year, but there's a whole lot of South Carolina implications for both teams, and we're excited to go compete. Questions?
Shane, you mentioned it right there. I mean, this has not been the season that you guys or Clemson have wanted to have, but heading into the offseason here, knowing that you're not going to be playing in a bowl game, what would a win this weekend do for the state, but also just for the momentum heading into the offseason?
Yeah, it'd be huge. You always want to win the last one and want to send these seniors out the right way. It would be pretty special for DQ Smith to say that and Brian Thomas and the guys that got here in 2022 and the other seniors that they went 3-1 against Clemson potentially. I mean, that'd be awesome for them to say. But more than anything, it's just we want to go play well on Saturday. This is a special group of young men that we have on this team, Jack, that we want to send out the right way. It's our last ride together on Saturday, and we want to make it meaningful and special. And certainly you want to win your last one, but when your last game is against your rival, it makes it extra special. Gamecock Central pay for you to eat at Jerry West's Steakhouse up there?
No, you know what? I went to Applebee's quite a few times. So my brother, he went to Marshall for a few years, played football there. He was telling me, I told him I was going, he's like, that's the fanciest restaurant they got.
And you missed out.
I wish.
Yeah.
Jerry West looks really cool.
It's a pretty good little spot. Yeah, good little pizza place at the Greenbrier too. So, all right, enough of the free exposure for the Greenbrier, but.
NILs, right?
Yeah.
Shane, I know you talk about the importance of this rivalry. You've been in it. Are there any? Do you depend on any players, in the locker room to really stress to maybe guys who aren't from this state or haven't grown up about how important this game is?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in our team meeting this morning because we've got a lot of guys that aren't from the state. One or two. They transferred in here, so this is their first exposure in this rivalry. And I told them what I told you at the beginning, that no matter where they came from, whether you're, Devontae Miles and you were Bowling Green and you had your rival against Toledo last year, or you were Sean Murphy coming from Florida State and you had your rival game against Florida last season, that this is as good as and better than anywhere that you've been. And I truly believe that. And certainly, I don't think it takes those guys long to figure out what this rivalry means when they transfer in here. You can't go anywhere in this state without, either there's a Carolina fan or a Clemson fan, and figuring out how important it is to the people of South Carolina. I think our guys understand that long before this week. We don't, sit around as a staff and a team talking about Clemson 358 days a year. We try and treat every game the same, but I'd be lying if there wasn't a different feeling in the building this week. But in regards to the older guys, I'll lean on them more, David, just to try and help those young guys, because sometimes I think when you get in these rivalry games, you can, if you're not careful, you make it too big and you get out there and you don't play great. So the biggest thing I've been trying to hone in with those, everybody, but need the older guys to help convey, is best thing we can do is go prepare really well and stick to our process of, it's different this week because we're not in class, but stick to our process of what we do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then go play really good on Saturday, that's what it's going to take, is to go play really, really well Saturday afternoon.
You mentioned Clemson's defense. There have been a few games this year where their blitz rate's been at 50%, and some games even higher than that. So they're really aggressive. You mentioned Peter Woods in the middle of it. What is your offensive line going to have to do to be able to make sure they're not able to wreak havoc in your backfield this weekend?
Play well. It's going to be a battle. I mean, you're looking at, when I talked about those draft projections, I'm pretty sure everyone that I've looked at has Parker and Woods both in the first round. If they come out, or I don't even know what decisions they have to make. And then they've got guys on the back end. They're going to be NFL players. But it certainly starts up front, and it really starts being able to control those two tackles. And it'll be a big challenge for our guys on the offensive line. We've gone against some really good defensive tackles this year in this conference. We've gone against some really good defensive ends this year in this conference, and then we're going against a really good front four that has depth this Saturday in this game. So we're going to need those guys to play really, really well, play with great physicality and execution, and then you know, I think Dabo said it in his press conference today, and I agree. Like, our best players got to play well, and that starts on the offensive line. Like, those guys have got to play well, because 11 and 19 can wreck your entire game plan if you don't control them.
Hey, Shane, two quick ones. In your time as a head coach, you've got 2 wins at Clemson Memorial, 2 losses at Williams-Brice. Do you see, I guess, a reason behind why that pattern's kind of been, and what would it mean to get that first home win since 2013?
Yeah, I tend to look at it as I'm undefeated in 12 noon games, and I haven't won at night, is how I try to look at it. So we play at noon, so I'm hoping it's a noon thing and not a home or away thing. No, I think both games were, 2021 was one I would like to forget. That wasn't much fun. But those other 3 games, 22, 23, 24, were very much could go either way. And, 23 was a dogfight. We did not do much offensively, to say the least. We held them to field goals in the red zone, but didn't play great. And then we've played well in all 3 phases when we've gone up there. So it is random. It's very rarely, it is rare. You don't really see a rivalry game where the away team has won however many straight years that it's been. But I think it's more, I know there'll be orange in the stands on Saturday, and there'll be tons of garnet and black in the stands on Saturday, just like when we go up there to their place. So I think it's more than anything just playing well. And for whatever reason, we have not played well in our stadium, and they have played better than us and coached better than us in our stadium. And what we need to focus on Saturday is not home, away, what color uniform we're wearing, any of that stuff, what time we're playing, but just preparing to go play well and play clean, winning football on Saturday at 12 noon.
Hey, Shane, we know how fierce and intense the rivalry here is in South Carolina. When you go outside of the state and you're talking to folks and they talk about the best football rivalries in the country, South Carolina Clemson is not mentioned with the same regard as, say, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Auburn. If Carolina and Clemson go into the game every year with those playoff implications, what will that do to raise the level of the awareness of the rivalry?
Yeah, just that when you're on the national stage like we were last year, it will raise the attraction and visibility of this game. I know there's some other games that have a lot of hype and are great rivalries and are like your traditional rivalries and all that, and they're all great. I love this weekend. I've told you guys this before. Like, I love this is my favorite weekend of the year in college football, just all the rivalries that are being played from I don't know if there's a Thursday game or not, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday throughout the weekend. It's just what makes college football so special. But it was pretty special last year, Rick, that everybody in the country was talking about this game, and everybody was talking about this game after the game too. and that's what we want. It's this rivalry doesn't take a back seat to any rivalry in the country. And like I said, I've been a part of some of the best ones out there. This one's special and heated and competitive and special 365 days a year. And it's up to us, both programs, to continue to get back to where we were last season. So when this game is played each weekend, everybody in the country is talking about it because of how great the rivalry is, but also what is riding on the game from a postseason implication standpoint.
Hey, Coach Beamer. I know you've said it many times to us that competition is a core value of this program. Going into this game, a chance to end the season with a big win against your rivals. Do you feel that your players have something to prove with this week?
I don't know if there's something to prove. We want to go play really well, and this is not a week where you need to, motivate guys to get ready. They're excited to go play, and it's another opportunity for us to put our team and our program on display, this 2025 team, and leave one lasting impact on what people think about the 2025 football team, and being able to win your last game against your rival would go a long way towards what that lasting memory image is of the team.
I know you've been preaching all year about finishing games. How important is that for you, for your team this week, and has that been mentioned throughout the week so far?
Yeah, we talked about it on Sunday because when we review the Coastal game, we talk about, one of our keys to win our plan to win each week is dominating the fourth quarter. So we talked about what we did in the second half and in the fourth quarter against Coastal. Certainly today we talked about, this game's going to come down to our plan to win like it does each and every week. And a big part of that is the fourth quarter. And, you talk about the last, our two trips to Clemson. You think about the fourth quarter and the plays we made in 2022 on offense, defense, and special teams in the fourth quarter. You think about last year, the plays we made on offense, defense, and special teams in the fourth quarter, and it was guys making some really great individual plays. We talked about it this morning. Everybody talks about the drive that we had last year with Lenoris and the play that D. Knight made at the end of the game, but none of that happens if on third down, after we did the onside kick and didn't get it, they went 3 and out. And on third down, it's man-to-man coverage. All 80,000 people in the stadium realize it's man-to-man coverage. We're not disguising anything. And they check to a goal ball versus Vakari Swain over there on their sideline. And Vakari Swain breaks up the pass, and they have to punt. And then Lenoris goes down the field. So it was individual players making big-time plays, and that's what we've talked a lot about. But we know this game, like every year, is going to come down to the fourth quarter, and we certainly need to play better and be able to finish this week for sure.
Hey, Coach, TJ Parker was asked today about Lenore Sellers in last year's game. He said playing Sellers last year was crazy, and it looked a lot different in person than the film might have portrayed. I know that the personnel and the coaches are different this season compared to last year, but is there anything you can take away from last year's performance and the way the offense played that you can kind of apply to this year?
Yeah, you can watch personnel. The scheme's different, but I think this year with Coach Allen and last year with Wes, it was the mindset wasn't different. It was we're gonna be aggressive, and we're gonna be up in your face, and we're gonna challenge you, and we're gonna make life really difficult on you. And Wes and their defense did that every year basically that I've been the head coach here. It's been a challenge to score points on them. And then this year with the personnel they have, yeah, it's a different coordinator, but you can look back at last year's game and see a lot of the same personnel because a lot of those guys, played in that game last year. There's older guys that have been there since 2022, if you go back and watch that tape just to kind of get a feel for personnel. So I think more than anything, it's kind of looking back and you watch last year's game, even though the coordinator is different, and to get a feel for, our personnel versus their personnel and see, Josiah and I guess it really would be Josiah, blocking some of their defensive linemen or whatnot. But there's still stuff that you can take from last year's game, and obviously Lenoris played great and did a lot of really good things in the fourth quarter, and as did their defense. They made a lot of plays against us last year too.
I think you said on Sunday that you expected Dylan and Nick to play against Clemson. Is that still the case?
I still do.
All right, cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
How has been the balancing of preparing for Clemson, but also trying to go through your process of hiring an offensive coordinator and an offensive line coach? And do you feel like you need to make those hires before signing day?
As I alluded to before, it's been a challenge, but there's nothing. I'm not working less on the opponents to work on that other stuff, hires that we have to make and what the structure of the staff looks like in 26. I'm able to do everything that I need to do for Coastal last week, Clemson this week. Was able to get a lot of, work done on the front end during the bye week, and I put all my efforts into Clemson, and then late at night or early in the morning, if there's a time frame where I've got a few minutes that is available, I can utilize it to do that stuff. So I don't want to say it's on the back burner right now because it's on my mind every day, but the best thing we can do is prepare really well to go play really well against Clemson. And in regards to any hires, not really. This signing class has been awesome that we've got committed right now. From the beginning throughout the season, they've been awesome, and they're excited about the future and what's next as we go into 2026 when they get here. And I don't want to take forever, but I don't want to sit there and say that I got to get somebody hired by next Wednesday either.
And looking further down the road with the 2027 recruiting class, it seems like there are a lot of
7
in-state guys who both teams are after, maybe more so than in the past. How critical is it, even further down the road for those head-to-head battles with them for some of those guys?
I used to think that who won the game really mattered, and maybe it does with some of these guys, but I think it's more, we spend so much time recruiting them throughout the year to say that a young man's decision is going to come down to what happens on Saturday. I don't think that's the case anymore. Now, if a team went out and lost like 20 in a row, it's probably you're not gonna win those share of battles. But I think it's more just the other 364 days of the year, the relationships, what you're doing as you recruit guys. There's guys in this year's class that are committed to us that are seniors right now that were heavily recruited by Clemson, and I don't think they're necessarily coming to Carolina because we won the game last season. And then there's guys that are here right now that were seniors in high school back in 23. I don't think they went to Clemson because Clemson won that game or whatnot. Does that make sense? So I think the game, it's a factor, but I think it's more so just the general direction of the program and the relationships that kids have with the men and women in both programs.
A little bit more of a non-Clemson, South Carolina question to break it up, but what is Luke Doty meant to you? And since he's been here with you since the beginning, and he's talked about wanting to get into coaching and whatnot, would you like to have him at South Carolina for years to come as whether it's grad assistant or whatever?
Yeah, I love Luke. Senior night Saturday was hard for me because you see those guys standing in the tunnel before they run out on the field, and who's about to get announced next, and it's just like in those 3 or 4 seconds before they're announced, it's just like their whole career like flashes before your eyes, and you come back and start thinking about from the first day you met them to senior night, and it's hard and really emotional. And I had a harder time with it Saturday against Coastal than I thought I would, to be honest with you. And Luke's certainly one of those guys that I feel that way about because he and Bradley Dunn will always be extra special to me because they're the two guys that were in the team meeting in December of 2020 when I arrived here in Carolina, and Coach Tanner picked me up at the airport, and I rolled into that gate over there, and I had my mask on because of social distancing and all that, and then you had to go in the team meeting room in the indoor because of social distancing. You couldn't meet in here, and the team had just lost the night before to Kentucky up in Lexington, and that's the first time meeting their new head coach. And there's 2 people that are still on this team that were in that meeting, and that's Luke and Brad. And those guys I love, and I'm grateful for them. Luke and Brad both have meant, so much to Carolina. Luke is like Mr. Gamecock, just his unselfishness, receiver, quarterback, special teams player, currently quarterback and special teams player. He's awesome. He's done a great job with Lenoris throughout the season, helping him I lean on him a lot for just stuff. If there's things I got a feeling about within the team, like I'll pick the phone up and call him and be like, "Hey man, what's the deal here? Like, talk to me, tell me what's going on." And I think he'd be awesome in coaching. So he and I haven't had that conversation, but yeah, if he was interested in getting into coaching and he wanted to continue to try and stay around here, sign me up. Lulu's first question in like a month. I thought like you were mad at me or just checked out or.
Definitely not checked out.
Okay.
Hopefully, I didn't think you were mad at me.
Definitely not.
Okay.
Didn't see you in College Station. I think you were with the women that weekend, right? Or no?
I was at a wedding. I know.
Okay.
I know.
All right, sorry. We'll just tell everybody you were in LA.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Anyways.
Sorry.
No, you're
I didn't
fine.
mean to put you on blast like that.
It's okay. My mom will love all this.
Okay.
Generally, like when you think of rivalries, there's some trash talk bulletin board material, but
Yeah.
I mean, you and Dabo speak highly of each other. Today, Cade literally said he's done charity with Lenoris and can't say anything bad about him, I guess. But the games are always competitive. Does that speak to the internal level of motivation that both programs sort of consistently have?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think you've got really good young men in that program. I mean, Tristan Lee and Colin Sadler, they're two offensive linemen. I mean, when I was at Oklahoma, they were in high school, and we were trying to recruit those two guys to Oklahoma. I mean, I can remember doing Zooms with Colin and his family when I was at Oklahoma. And then Cade, Austin, Texas was my recruiting area when I was at Oklahoma, and met Cade when he was a freshman in high school. And I know what kind of, young men and people they are. And then a lot of the other guys in that program that we've recruited and been in some of their homes and think a lot of them. And then obviously not just Dabo, but a lot of the coaches on that staff. I mean, there's coaches on that staff that I worked with at other places. There's coaches on that staff that worked with my dad at Virginia Tech. So I know the type of people in that program, and then it's the respect that we have for that program and what they've done. And I would hope they feel the same way about us and what we've done with our program in the last 5 seasons and the people in this program. We try and do things right from a football and recruiting standpoint. I know they try and do things right from a football and recruiting standpoint, and there's a healthy respect. I mean, we want to, beat each other's brains out on Saturday. There's no question about it, and it's highly, highly, highly competitive. I mean, there's not going to be any kumbaya before the game where we're all loving everybody up and go team. I mean, it's a fierce, 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 fierce rivalry, but there's I would hope, I know from my standpoint, a great appreciation to be part of this rivalry and a great respect for who we're competing against across the field too.
One of your points of emphasis in the offseason was to improve some of the special teams play, especially in the return game. How do you feel like that's gone? And just special teams in general, it doesn't feel like y'all hit on many of the trick plays, so to speak, fakes and such like that. But it seems like the nuts and bolts of special teams coverage units have gone really well.
Yeah. What'd you think about that question, boys? Just kidding. It's a great question. I'm being funny. Nobody thought it was funny, I guess. I think we've improved. I think in the return game sometimes you can look at stats, particularly in the return game. I don't even know where we are statistically in the country in kickoff return and punt return, but I think we've been pretty dang good. Statistically, we may not be. If a team is going to kick away from Nick Harbor and therefore you're taking over with better field position because they don't want to kick the ball to Nick, well, your average return is going to stink, but your starting field position is going to be pretty darn good. And that's what is more important to me. So overall, I feel like in the punt return game, we've been really good. We had some misses, frustrated about the other night because I think we had an opportunity on a punt return, the one that Vicari fielded over there on their sideline. If we have a couple guys finish on the play, go back to the finishing question, if we finish on that play a little bit better, that may spit out of there and could be a long touchdown. And I feel like we've left some opportunities out there. Kickoff return-wise, I think we're much improved. We simplified a little bit this year in what we were doing schematically in the kickoff return game, John, and I think we've been a lot better. Nick's been really good. Have we had the long, explosive kickoff return? No, but there's a hand. I think we were a problem for teams because of Nick Harbor being back there. Quayle being back there has been a weapon. And when I look at the return game, certainly on that, we've been really close. And nobody wants to hear close, and I don't either on that one. But we've been really close to having some more explosive kickoff returns. So statistically, it may not show it. I think we're much improved in the return game. I mean, every week when we line up to play a team, when they punt, they more often than not, they do something they've never done before because they're either worried about getting it blocked or they're worried about Vicari back there returning it. First punt of the game against A&M, they did something they had never done before. Ole Miss, credit them on the fake, but they broke a tendency and did something they had never done before. Coastal came out the other day and did something that was a little bit new. So to me, that's a sign of respect when teams are doing different things because of the threat they feel like you present. Where I'm disappointed is certainly some of the fakes, if you will. The Oklahoma one I'm mad at myself about. Last week, I'm not mad at myself about that. That should have worked. And for whatever reason, it didn't. So I'm not going to be mad about that one. And then the LSU one should have worked. Can't talk about the officiating, but we got a tough break on the one against LSU. The one against Kentucky, give their guy credit. We executed it. Their guy made a tackle and stopped us. So we're going to continue to be aggressive from that standpoint, but certainly we need to be better with those because even going back to last season, there were a couple that we didn't hit on, and that'll always be a weapon for us, and we'll continue to be, but we've got to be better there. Certainly when we do call those things, we got to execute them a little bit better, and that goes back to us as coaches.
Shane, this doesn't have to be football related, but as we approach Thanksgiving this year, what are you most thankful for?
Family and the opportunity that I have here to be the head football coach at South Carolina. Certainly I'm very blessed to have a, awesome family around me, Rick. God has blessed me greatly. And then extremely blessed to be the football coach here because I get to be at a place that I love. I get to live in a city and a state that I absolutely love living in. And then get to come into this building each day as the head coach and be around some awesome young men on this team and get to work with some awesome people day in, day out in this building. So this season has been frustrating, but there's not been one day where I've walked in this building not looking forward to coming into this building. And for that, and that's because of the people and the culture in this program. And for that, I'm very, very, very thankful. Yep. And thankful for all of you guys as well. So happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Yep. Carolina calls tonight if anybody wants to come. Backstreet's Grill, right? 7 o'clock.